Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. My name's Nathan and I run this channel Fathom with Nathan, and I'm also leading a ministry project called the I Am Life Monastery. But today I just want to speak to you about something that's very important, that I think is very rare on the earth right now. It's always been rare, but it's the voice of God. And you know, the voice of God is something that is real. God is still speaking. He never stopped speaking. He didn't stop speaking when the canon was closed, as some theologians say. The canon meaning the books of the Bible were finally written and put together. That's an absolute lie. God has been speaking. He is speaking, and he wants you to hear his voice too. And if you've never heard his voice, you can. I want to challenge you to do something. Start spending time with God every single day and begin to listen for his voice, whether it's an idea or an image or a prompting, something that he shares with you, a thought, a few words. Write those things down. What I found is if I seek God for God, and I do that consistently, I read his word, I pray, but there becomes a time where we enter into a different kind of relationship with the Lord, where he can begin to speak to us on a regular basis. It's spirit to spirit. God is spirit, and he speaks to our spirit, and it's an assurance and it's an understanding that it's his voice because it comes straight from him. You'll know when it comes because it's unique. It comes like no other voice, and it hits your spirit, and it brings renewal, it brings conviction, refreshing, direction, relief. I'm going to challenge you to hear the voice of God. He's challenged me to start speaking out what I've written down. I've written down over 13 different books. Actually, it's 15 different books right now based on what I believe the Lord shared with me in a daily journal. You'll be able to read through these books and read what God shared with me on a particular date. You can flip to January 2nd, 2023 and know what God spoke to me on that day. This is why those books were written. He's challenging me to speak out what his heart is to his people, because he wants his people to believe that they too can hear his voice. And these books are just an example. He touches on different topics about spiritual warfare, about the judgment, about angels, about his voice, about him and his character. I want to challenge you to stop living the lie that your life is worthless or meaningless or has no purpose, simply because you can't understand what that is yet. You always have had purpose. You've always had a destiny, and you've always had value to God. We just have to agree with him on what that means for our individual life. Christ came so that we could have a relationship with him. But if we don't choose to engage with that relationship, we're not going to grow in that relationship. It's really that simple. The more we invest in a relationship, the more we receive from that relationship. This is not a works-based religion, but what I'm saying is, in a relationship, interaction is real and interaction is consistent to have a valuable, healthy, growing, dynamic relationship. It's the same way with the Lord. So I want to challenge you, start spending time with God daily. Start spending time in his word, but also start spending time listening. Things really shifted for me when I decided, I don't remember the exact date, but it was right around October of 2021. I just made a decision to start seeking God for God. Not just God for answers, not seeking God just for provision, not just seeking God for what I want or the outcomes I hope that he's going to change, or the things that I need to get rid of my anxiety or the financial situations that I have. When I let myself pause and I let myself spend time with God and seek God for God, that's when everything changed. Everything changed. I've shared this with a couple of my friends, and I started hearing from him, and every week a little bit more, and then every day, and then I started hearing from him every single day. And I've been hearing from him every single day since October. I think it was 26th of 2021. I think that's what it was, or 2022. Can't remember, honestly. But it's been more than a year, and I just want you to be encouraged, to be strengthened, to be ministered to, and know that God values you enough that he wants to spend time with you. But do we value God enough to want to spend time with him? So that's my challenge to you. And I'm going to start sharing on a regular basis. I'm going to be going live on a regular basis. I'm going to be sharing what I believe is the mind of God on different topics. And I'm doing all this in faith. He challenged me this morning to not be led by my feelings. He said, when soldiers go out to war, do they base their assignment or their fulfillment of that assignment on their feelings? We shouldn't do that, but it takes God to empower us to not live by our feelings. You really challenged me this morning. And so I'm going to step out in faith and start sharing a lot more from what he's already given me. He's entrusted to me so much, and I want to give that out to you. It's going to be completely free. The books, of course, you have to buy. Those are on Amazon. You can get those. You just look me up, Nathan Working, Werking. This is not just some money-making scheme or some just way to try and just bring in tons of money for myself. The Lord told me to not even do it for myself, that I didn't even do it with a selfish purpose in mind, but to just write those things down that he gives me for the general public so that people can learn what it's like to hear God's voice. And God speaks differently to each of us, but he also speaks in certain tones when he talks about certain subjects. And that's what this book is about. He speaks very directly to very different categories of people, and he reaches out to them. He speaks to them about his character. He speaks to them about his life. He speaks to them about his heart for his people. And so feel free to pick up those books. The cheaper versions are on Kindle ebook. You can download samples for free. You can also do the look inside feature on Amazon if you want to browse around and see what they're all about. My goal is to edify you. My goal is to challenge the body of Christ to hear God deeper, to hear his voice deeper and more clearly. And his voice is consistent. So if you hear something from God is completely against his character, it's probably not God. But if you consistently hear something that's in his word, that aligns with his character, that aligns with what God's Spirit is doing in the earth, there's a pretty good chance that you're onto something. So I want to encourage you, take time, spend time with God today. He might even speak to you today. He might speak to you right now at the end of this video if you give him a chance. Just step into his presence, step into his kingdom in this way, where you become a hearer, become an abiding one, become someone that listens to him, hears what he has to say, and then you can give out. And then you start identifying your purpose and you start giving out to that. Also, one more plug. If you could go to iamlifemonastery.org, iamlifemonastery.org, you'll see on there a plan that God has given me to build something in Maui, Hawaii for his people, to step aside from society and to spend time with him and to do this exact thing that I was talking about, hear his voice. So thank you so much for listening. Please share this video. Please be on the lookout for more videos. I'm going to be going live consistently, and then also sharing from my books. So thank you so much again. My name is Nathan Working, and today is July 8th, 2023.